Peter Griffin's silhouette profile. I think Elon said it'll be caught by separate pegs, if I recall correctly. Either way, I mean, regardless, MotoKid, the aerodynamic loads the aerodynamic shear loads that get put on a grid fin, you're gonna need something strong there anyway. Falcon 9s are built up like that too, but yeah, I mean, who knows? Is it upside down? No idea. You haven't watched this one, I don't think. It's 8 o'clock. We're going back to KSP. We got to build launch pads. We got to keep going with our launch pad testing in KSP. So I hope you enjoyed that space news segment. I'm going to flip back over and we're going to work for the next 3 or 4 hours here on building the launch pad so we can do a test flight. Hopefully get that test flight in today. Really, really want to push for it. So let's jump back over there. This is mission mode, part 149, I believe. Is this where I submit my homework? Thanks for the space news. No problem. What odds do you give for the success of catching a grain silo? Better than 50? On the first try, Tom? Ooh, I don't know, man. Tom, if it was me, I would, Core, is that, okay, yeah, thank you. I'll have that up. Tom, if it was me, I wouldn't even bother trying to, like, the first time you want to try and land one of those, I would just weld some posts to the side and try to land it on a flat surface. If it was me. That's the desktop. I wouldn't even bother trying to land it on the pad on the first try, dude. Don't even try for the catch on the first attempt. Land some out in the ocean or something, or land some on a concrete pad and weld some like huge legs to them or whatever, and get some data on the precision, the precision of the landing, and then go to land it on the pad. That's what I would do. So, like with the first super heavies down the road, you might see something more like grasshopper. So Grasshopper was a Falcon 9 derived launch vehicle that was basically designed to test, amongst other things, it was designed to test landing on one engine, to make sure that you could land precisely on one engine. So my guess is that we'll probably see a super heavy booster with some kind of weird attachment down the bottom. So SpaceX, the first thing that SpaceX did was they went with a fixed landing leg design with Grasshopper. Of course, I found the most potato image. Why wouldn't I? They went with just some fixed landing legs, right? And then it's Falcon 9 derived. This is a Falcon 9 tank. It's got a serial number. I think it's 002, just like every other Falcon 9. And then it just has one Merlin engine at the bottom. And SpaceX used this thing to test landings with a fixed landing leg. And then, after Grasshopper flew and they proved that they could land on a single engine like that, they switched to Falcon 9 Dev 2. So F9R Dev 1 and Dev 2. One of them exploded. I forget which one. So, I'm trying to find a picture that's not potato. So, the F9R was a Falcon 9 that they launched, and I think it had 3 engines. And on top of the inner stage right here, they just made a nose cone, right? And it's a full Falcon 9. It's a real Falcon 9 with no grid fins, right? And they launched it with the legs deployed. One engine on F9R. There you go. So my guess is that you'll probably see Grasshopper will be them, like, they'll probably do something like this with some fixed landing legs, and then they'll probably have a super heavy R Dev 1 or whatever, and instead of like launching with landing legs open, super heavy wouldn't have landing legs. They would try for a pad catch. Like they would probably lift super heavy up off the pad, have it go up and hover, and then have it come back down and have the pad grab it and set it back down on the pad. If it was me, that's how I'd do the testing. I'd follow right in Falcon 9's footsteps. Can you imagine a super heavy test where you see the thing go up like SN5, chill there for a second, and then come back down, and then have the pad clamp the thing? And I mean, if it was me, that's what I would do. Like, I mean, not that that counts for anything, but you get the idea. Anyway, let's jump back in. Yeah, J-Tacos, that would be pretty cool to see. Alright, so welcome back to mission mode, everybody. We were doing some tests because I have I think a prototype for our LV5 project, or our single stage to orbit subscale demonstrator. I have a design not finalized but good enough for a flight test. It's not totally finalized because I don't want to finalize it and then test it and then find something that I need to change, right? So we have Proto 7 right here. 7 is the one that I think we should... The one that I think we're going to test fly. A vertical suborbital flight, similar to the actual X-33. It's not going to go for orbit, but we'll get close. See last, please. I know you're getting into KSP, but it's relevant. Concerning the one landing, you don't practice until you get it right. You practice until you can't get it wrong. Okay. I mean, SpaceX clearly disagrees with you, Hellfish, so I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, what do you want me to say? I mean, I agree with you. I mean, SpaceX clearly thinks both of us are incorrect, so, you know. How'd you ever solve the weight issue? I redesigned the aft fuel tanks to carry more fuel in the same surface area. Or not the same surface area, the same volume, not area, idiot. So I redesigned the hydrogen tanks. They carry a lot more fuel now, and even then, MotoKid, I don't think that this thing's payload capacity is like maybe 100 kilograms, maybe 100 kilos. It has like 3,800 delta V in it if you set that to vacuum. If you set it to vacuum, it goes up to like 4,100. So yeah, the payload capacity is pretty much nothing. Pretty much nil. So once again, it's not finalized, but it's good enough. It's good enough to do flight tests, right? So yeah, Proto 7 will do some flight tests for us here. And we'll give it... We'll give it a serial number just like the rest. This would be 02. 01 was my tank testing rig. This was 01. And I don't worry about the ones that blew up in testing last night. That doesn't count. That doesn't count in the lore. How will you occlude payloads from Aero in the future? Payload bay. Yeah. I still have to figure out something to put right here. I don't know what I could put to fill that thing up. So once again, we'll probably use 2 here. Prototype 2 to do suborbital and flight testing, and then based off of what we learned from that, we'll come up with another prototype. Now, with that being said, what I'm working on over here, what we were working on, now that I have something that I, want to actually fly, right? We are working on a pad design here. Okay, so we had to do some testing with KSP, and here, let's go out. We had to do some testing, and I had to look into some things. What I had to look into was how I'm going to make this launch pad. If we wanted to make it like the X-33, we're gonna have to do it a little. We're gonna have to think about building launch pads in a little different way than we thought of previously. So, the first launch pad over here has, you pick something up. You know, you can pick something up. It turns vertical, then the crane moves, and you put it on the launch frame right here. This new idea that we have for a launch pad is over here. This one. So, what I want to do is have a truck push the SSTO up the ramp here, and then have the pad built up in the air right here on the same plane as this, and basically have a truck that drives up onto the raised kind of deck right here, and then rolls this thing onto a transporter erector, or just an erector, right? And then this thing, the girder segments would go upright, and the thing would be vertical right here, and we'd launch it from right here. What I'm trying to do with this test is see if I can put something just next to the pad with a catwalk, I guess. Well, it's not going to be a catwalk. It's going to be a full plate. To see if I can extend it to the pad to make the pad go all the way, basically all the way out here. That's what I'm trying to see. That's what this test is for. I kind of have my surface indicators of the deck of the pad. It'll be a U shape because right here I'm going to need to put this also affords me to be able to put the hydraulics down here. So instead of hanging the hydraulics from the top like the crane, we'll have the hydraulics pushing the TE, or just pushing the erector upright, and then pushing it into the vertical position, and then us launching the rocket that way. Yeah. So what I wanted to do was see if I could have these plates kind of hang on the side of the pad on the lip right there. I wanted to see if we could do that, and it turns out that you basically can. Yeah, it's no problem. It doesn't. You could put a vehicle out. The testing I was doing inadvertently, we were doing a test, not inadvertently, we were doing a test while I was at Space News, and I wanted to see what reloading the pad did here. The pad did move. It moved. This plate, see what it does? I don't want it doing that. I think that just comes from the pad not being incredibly rigid. It has moved away. See, this plate was originally overlapping the pad right here from the testing this afternoon. So what I want to do is I want to hone in on this, and I want to see if we can finish this. Hone in on this, make sure that this works, and see if we can get an operational pad tonight. Now, I know what people are going to say, oh, that's never going to happen, that's never going to happen. You might be right, but this is actually ridiculously simple. This thing would be more simple to engineer than the crane, and I did engineer the crane in I won't say I engineered it in one stream. It took me like 1 to 2 days. But either way. Could you use launch clamps? Well, that's a very good question. Core, let's see what your homework was here. Core Space did some work, did some research for me. Hey, nice plane. Yeah. Yeah, we have the anchor points, yeah. But we could use these, but see, my thing about this is that I know these things move. Yeah, Kyron, that's my Wings Wednesday F-15. I made that F-15, yeah. I wrote that, yeah, me. Chet Hindsight. Actually looks pretty clean. Welcome back, Chet. Yeah, this could work. Core, are you here, dude? I don't think he's here right now. Launch clamps do move around, Steven. Yeah, they tend to drift. It happens. I mean, they move around no more than any other component would move around from docking and undocking things. Back, got dinner. Core, how low could you get these things? Did you gizmo these things all the way to the ground? Not necessarily true, Hypersonic. It depends on the hierarchy. Yeah, it depends on the hierarchy. I did, but then changed it. So you could put those all the way on the ground, and it didn't make a big deal out of it. All right. Okay. All right. I'll test it. Okay. Let's recover the truck, and we'll recover the test article. Yeah, MotoKid, they've been working on ways to get around that. It's not a big deal. The anchor points nuclear drifting, they already have the passive not, there's a passive system built into KSP that came out in 1.11.1 that allows stuff to basically stay still. The only thing that's going to move this around is like a big physics reload, or a, like if you dock something to it. If you dock something to it and the vessel hierarchy has hierarchy of the thing that's docking rather than the pad, like if you dock the pad to the rocket and not the rocket to the pad, that will move it. That's just, and that's not bullcrap. That's from my testing with the Freedom rockets. So let's recover that. Hey Darkseid, what's up, dude? I mean, nuclear. I could design this. I could design my pad prototype in a way where it could accept the ground anchor points eventually. Swishio, I'm not sure. See, Swishio, so part of my solution here with why the pad works so well is that it's designed to move just a little bit. It can move just a teeny weeny bit. That's not a problem. You don't want it to move a lot, but it can move a little bit. It's not a big deal. Hey, Leglander, what's up? All right, let me. Yeah, Core, I'll figure out a hierarchy to make it work. How far does your panels overlap the pad? Okay, that's okay. Not much. One shift offset, okay. Nice, Darksea. I'm thinking. I should probably think out loud so you guys can not hear me go, huh. Yeah, Reagan, who knows? I could be wrong with what I'm saying about Starship, you know. It's not like we're going to be short rocket launches. Huh. Huh. Alright, so I'm going to keep these and let's work on the deck plate here. What we'll do is go in here and go to my prototype and we'll get some dimensions for the prototype here. Actual stock ground anchors are about 1 month away. Maybe delay this until then? Mr. Ron, I mean, that would be nice, but, I mean, the real question is, don't you think it would be easier to just future-proof it? We've already seen how the ground anchors work. Yeah. CyberGod, yes, they added ground anchors into the 1.12 patch that should be coming out sometime soon. I don't know. Like, I don't really see the need to do that. Just an idle observation, though.
Good evening to all of you folks back home. Isn't this exciting? We're being seen all over.
Let's go over here like this.
Yes, I know 700 million people approximately joining us tonight. Some in summer, some in winter. But wherever
Let's get the X33 video loaded up
be
here.
sure to warm your hearts.
Our first group, our first stop, will be on the grounds of the world-famous National Palace Museum, which houses Chinese treasures dating back some 4,000 years.
Well, let's hit the road.
Nice, Bandit. Yeah, Mr. Ron, yeah, is there anything that's impeding this design? Like, will the ground holders change this at all? It's a, like, honest question. I don't think so. Alright, let's get dimensions and go. So, the width is 16, length is 16. So, I'm going to make our plate kind of 20 by 20 and go from there. Yeah, 20 by 20 should be fine. So, let's go find the pad prototype. Okay, I need to do some measuring here with I-beams again. Now I'm gonna measure because we know this thing is 20 wide, right? Huh. It says 22.4. It says 22.4 because you haven't made this that long, idiot. Okay, so now we have a yardstick here. Not a yardstick, but we have a stick that is 20 long. So I'm using this as kind of, I'm going to end up using the mount test thing as a template. Hey, Funky, what's going on? I know how they work, Lulz. We asked them yesterday, dude, for the most part. Okay, so I don't need my 20 meter stick anymore. Let's go here, and I think this is the arrow shell. Yes, it is. So what I'm gonna do here, is get some kind of outlines for what, how long I want the transporter erector to be, and I'm getting some blueprints based off of the vehicle, and then we'll build the platform based off of that, and then we'll build the launch equipment for that. We can also, using the arrow shell test, which is a finalized version, I know I'm not using the main craft file, so this should be fine. So first of all, let's get it to the height where I think it needs to be. This is gonna roll up. We're gonna back this thing up to the pad, right? And once again, I'm gonna use this file to make like a blueprint, right? Huh. How much bigger will the final spaceship be? I'm not sure, Swishio. The big boy version, it will be bigger than this. I'm not sure how much bigger, but... Can you take engines off and use mass simulators for all these tests to save Kerbucks? If I need to put it out, Duber, yeah, I will. Didn't you say that yesterday? Yeah, we probably want to make the flame trench a little bit wider than this. So say this thing rolls back to here, right? The vehicle will roll back, right? And then we'll... Huh. So this needs to be higher up off the ground. Okay, here, how... If we get this into this position, where does this thing need to be? This thing needs to be up here somewhere. Right? So, this thing needs to be up here so this thing doesn't contact the pad. Right? And then I'm kind of putting these two panels where the shuttle engines, like kind of showing basically how wide I can make the reaction bar, like the part where this thing hooks into the pad. That's to show like kind of the clearances that I have to these things right here. See last. I drew SN15's landing burn. You like it? It's good. Looks great. So if that's the case now, where does this get us? Oh. Okay. That means that these need to go a lot more forward for the transporter erector to work correctly. I keep calling it a transporter erector. It's not a TE. It is not a transporter erector. It's just an erector. Alright, let's move this into position like this, right? There's a little bit of clearance there. The verticator. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so this is basically helping me set up the kinematics for the launch pad. Where pivot points are, where the vehicle will bolt to the actual launch pad, where the transporter needs to be. It'll also help me with center of mass indicators. With the center of mass of the structures here, so where to put the hydraulics when that comes, when it comes down to that, where to put the hydraulics and how I should place them, and that's the other part of why I wanted this thing raised up off the ground. I wanted this thing raised up off the ground so I could put hydraulics down here that are pushing against the ground, right? They're pushing against the ground. To get this thing vertical. And I know what people are going to say, well, isn't that going to cause drift? Aren't these going to drift? Yeah. But I have a theory. I don't think they will if they're sitting against the ground. Food for thought. I think the pad needs to be a bit bigger, or do you plan for it hanging off the side? I don't plan for it hang off the side, no.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Chibo, 4-month resub. Thank you. Just put it out there and see what happens. Thought won't help wonky KSP physics. Swishio, what is putting this out on the pad right now? What does that do to help me understand? How does that get me to launching this thing quicker? Not the whole thing, just the piston and a weight on the top. Oh, you're talking about that. I'm pretty sure it'll work, dude. I don't want to waste time with a test like that, dude. Let's just build the thing out, and if it doesn't work, we can use this thing like 3 or 4 times before they bind up, and then we replace it. Just like the other pad. Last, please, is relevant. Okay. Actually, now that I think about it, what happens if you place one of the new ground anchors and then place hydraulics on top of it with a small battery and a generator? And then from there, physically push on the pad as a separate vehicle. What do you think? I don't know. I don't know how the ground anchors work. That sounds right. But I don't have that to test right now. We don't want this thing damaging this at all. Exactly, Pop Bear. I think that's the better way of doing this. guys, just let me finish getting all the right points, okay? I have to get all the pickup points. And no, I do not want to test flight. How am I going to test fly this? It doesn't take off horizontally. No, I don't want to test having it take off horizontally, because if I test it taking off horizontally, how is that any better than the dart testing that we did? No, I need actual testing. I need to launch it up and I need to bring it down, not taking it off from the pad and losing 3 or 4 prototypes trying to take a brick and taking it off from a runway that's designed to only land on. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that way. Vertical positioning, launch clamps, boom. What? Huh? Oh, no, Dish, you have, no, I don't do that. You don't do that here. Mission mode has rules against doing that, dude. I don't operate like that. Do your homework, do it right the first time, or fail, and then learn something, you know what I mean? But I can't, it's like I can't, I need to build the GSE for this, so like, how I want to test this out, guys, is I want to build the launch pad for it, and I want to build the pad for this thing, and then when we build the pad for this, I can figure out a couple of things on how to do this pad a little bit better, and we could work on rapidly reusing the thing if the flight tests work correctly. So instead of like taking this off and getting data on how the thing takes off, which is useless to me, right? I get data on how to engineer the pad, right? If I get data on if I get launch data, even for a suborbital test, it helps me build a better launch pad. And I also get to do flight tests, right? So I want to make sure that we really do this right. Having the thing take off, like, if I'm going to put this thing out on the pad, I'm going to risk that much money per flight. I'm going to at least do it in a way where I can get the most data out of it that I possibly can. That's how much it would cost to put this out right now, and that's how much money I have. Per my rules that I play by, guys, you can go bankrupt. If you do a dumb enough test and you lose enough money, you go bankrupt. If you get to minus 1 million funds in this, you lose. Delete the save, per my rule set. So I gotta be careful, man. I really gotta do my homework here. And also, I'm trying to get this thing as safe as possible, and that comes from rapid prototyping. In the same way that SpaceX wants to, they're not gonna do suborbital stuff anymore, right? They're pushing for orbital. I mean, I'm kind of in that same kind of category, you know. Yeah, Gorn. Mm-hmm. I could. Yeah, that would have been nice. I need to see that again. The bottom of this sinks down and it's sitting on something. It's sitting on like a plate. See, there's a holder plate down there. See it? Yeah, you can't see it. It's behind my stupid head. Right there. Okay, cool. I see. Why are those air intakes at the back there? Mounts for the RCS on the actual prototype. There's RCS there. This is just a mock-up, but it's the same shape. Can you use Imahara's pad as a starting point? It seems pretty similar. This thing is almost as big as Imahara's pad demo. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I need something for this thing to sit on. And it has to be kind of the inverse of the X37 because the X37's engines are in here. Mine are on the outsides. Mine are swapped, so I need my holder points to be in the center. That actually shouldn't be too hard. If I take like a 1.8 mount, right? What happens when we go to wiggle these things? What happens if we, you know, when we do our TVC tests, this thing is going to do this. 5, 10. Huh. Okay. That's what I'm thinking, Urban. Yeah. Like, they don't need to see it, but yeah, I'm thinking something like that might be useful. Yeah. I just don't know how I'm gonna make it. A fairing. once again, that fairing has to sit on something. Like, so I'm gonna need like a mounting plate down here, and that I would ideally want this mounting plate to be pushing into the ground. So we have the mount plate right here, right? And then when this thing rotates into position, right? When this thing rotates up into position, right, like that, the plate will meet up with this flange right here. And then I can box it up and make it look like that with some panels that aren't structural, that just look nice. But the pillar and the pillar attached to that flange right there, to this mating surface right here, that will be, it'll be a fairing with same vessel collision on, and then that'll have same vessel collision. That'll work. Yeah, if we make that out of a fairing, that could work. Yeah, that's fine. This will look good. Okay. Nice. And that should be able to hold this up. I had an entire fully fueled Freedom 7 on top of one of these things. But then again, this has way more fuel than a Freedom 7 does. So I'm gonna have to load rate this. Okay. So the vehicle we know is about 40 tons, give or take. Ooh, that's a strong. Yeah, this is gonna need to be pretty strong. How much thrust do these things put out? Do the shuttle engines put out? 936. How much do the telescoping cylinders put out? 800. Okay. They don't call it a strong back for nothing, yeah, right? You're not wrong, dude. You know, Sawyer, like, yeah, just an idle thought, and yeah, strong back for nothing. Dude, this pad is complicated, but also at the same time, it's not very
Discovery,
complicated.
go at throttle up.
Hey, Purple Pie, 38-month resub. If you sure to make it out of Stalininium. It's very strong. This pad is actually really simple. It's not the most complicated launch pad that we've attempted. Condor's launch pad would have been is way more complicated than this, because it's a 2-stage rocket that I have to build. We don't need the integration bay for this. I just roll it right back. I mean, we should make a storage hangar somewhere. So one of my books fell over. Okay, so the whole thing will basically be held up on a pillar. Pillars are really strong because they disperse the load evenly on all surfaces because there's no corners. When we're talking about compression load, that's why they use pillars to hold up buildings. So can I attach? Okay, I can attach a fairing plate to that docking port. Perfect. So the real question is, can one of these 1.8 fairings with same vessel collision hold this sucker up? That needs to go basically right there.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
And then we need to move this, taking into account how much gimbal? 10.5. So we'll just move it to 10. 5, 10. Okay. So now the next thing that I want, I'm gonna have to move these panels out of the way. The panels that I've been using for clearance. I have to move them out of the way. Clearance. Hey, GrabShark, 18-month resub. Thanks, dude. Now I need interstage. Shut the truss structure off. Give me a 1.8 engine plate.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Novus. It's going all right. How are you? Okay, so go here. Build the fairing. Terminate the fairing construction. You were talking last night about how Kerbin and all of the Kerbin star system was made out of basically neutron star matter because of how small the planets are. That's why all the tanks are so dang heavy when empty. They're made out of ore, which is made out of rock and minerals from the planet. Makes sense? So this is a flange that is exactly like Freedom 10 and Freedom 7. It's the same thing. I built it in the exact same way, only I gave it an hourglass so the engines can wiggle in there. I don't think they're going to wiggle that much, and honestly, if the engine turns like this during takeoff, I'm screwed. I'm pretty sure if we're at full gimbal at liftoff, we have a really big problem. And the problem isn't just losing the launch pad because I cooked the erector here. So now this whole thing will go like this, right? Okay. These I-beams and everything I'm using, this is not going to be the final design. The I-beams and everything that I'm using, I'm just getting datums on everything. So basically 3D points in space. And then when I go to make this pad, I'll have all the points, like where the thing will pivot, where the hydraulics attach, where the landing gear will touch, where the flame trench needs to be. I'll have all the points basically figured out. This is like me figuring out basically where everything needs to go. Do you still have the old hat and sunglasses? Of course, Fork. Yeah, the sunglasses are in my car. But the hat, yeah, hat's right here. I haven't been wearing it, man, because of my hair. I'm pretty sure wearing all those hats all the time is not helping my hair. But yeah, the hat's right here, dude. Dude. I had so much hair that this feels really loose. Look. I had so much hair. Freaking. Yeah. It's very slacked. Nice. Wow, that's bad. Dude, I had a lot of freaking hair. That was the most hair I've had in a long time, dude. Either that or brain shrinking. I've got a good brain. Wouldn't be against having some supplementary support on the sides just in case this thing gets heavy. So on the real X37, on the real X33, there's the umbilicals, the tail service mast umbilicals are here and here, and NASA man, you'd know they're shuttle umbilicals. Yeah, X33 was going to use the shuttle umbilicals, which I thought was really cool. They're right there, and they look exactly like the T1 and T0 carrier umbilicals on the space shuttle. Yeah. I was reading a technical paper about them the other day. The hydrogen one has 2 ports to flow more hydrogen. Fellas, I figured that one out. I was reading a technical document. Yeah, there are ports on the back that are the shuttles here. Where is it? That's aerodynamic uncertainty. Wow, that's the metallic thermal protection system. Where the heck is the one on the umbilicals? It's here somewhere. Maybe it's the one I didn't click on. Yep. See? Shuttle umbilicals. Kyron, I don't know where that is exactly. It's around here somewhere. But see, look, those are the same exact umbilicals that are on the space shuttle. And SLS for what it's worth. If you look at, no, not a video. If you look at a picture of Discovery, like landing or something, see, there's the umbilical. It's just on its side. Because the shuttle would take off like this, and the X-33's umbilicals are vertical, and these ones are horizontal. But see, it's the same thing. See last. I want to try making a rocket with an integration system like you do, but I'm not sure where to start. How do you start? Figure out a place to pick the thing up where it won't cause the thing to sag. They design integration points in here on purpose, Reagan. So, for instance, you don't pick an airliner up by its wings. No. Like, you don't attach 2 cables to the outside of the wings and then try to pick a 747 up. The wings would do this, right? That's not a good place to pick to grab it from. You got to figure out a good place to be able to pick the thing up. But it also depends on what type of integration you're doing. So, yeah, you got to kind of figure that one out a little bit. A few years back, I got to go to the umbilical testing location at KSP where they're working on the quick disconnects for the SLS. Yeah, that's behind ONC, right? Yeah, that's cool, man. Okay. So I'm thinking this part of the pad, to have those additional supports, what we'll do is this. I'll do that right there, right? I don't know what these additional supports are going to hold up, to be honest with you. I could make them go down here and have them pick up on like a launch clamp or something. You know what I'll do? I'll just set them at the same height. I'll come up with the shape for the box right here by setting these at the same height and going from there. That's good enough. And see now, Reagan, now I have the shape pretty much exact of that thing. You see what I'm saying? You just gotta find points in 3D space. Find, like when you're building a pad, find points in 3D space where you want to be able to like fill in other things. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of research, but it also depends on what type of rocket you're making. Reagan, if you want to do something like Freedom, like the Freedom rocket, where it's just vertically integrated and stacked on a pad, literally just figure out places to be able to pick the rocket up from. That's it. And then the crane will handle the rest, right? It's not that complicated. With this, you got to start picking up on points and find what's called a datum. You have to set datums everywhere. Datums are like basically points in 3D space where certain things need to be. Like, I have a datum for right here for where the pivot is for this thing. See what I'm talking about? That's where this thing rotates from. See what I'm talking about? It should be fixed. Yep. Oh, thanks, Kyron. But see, I just started with building the fairing, right? And then I figured, I started with a funnel, right? Or the cylinder. The cylinder won't fit because the engines we need to be able to do a thrust vector control firing, right? So the gimbal is on this 10 degrees, so I moved these 10 degrees in either direction. See how they have the wiggle room now? And they should have wiggle room this way. Yeah, they have more than enough. Right? And then from there, if I want additional support on the sides, we have to move those out. And now I moved those out. We're gonna run into another issue in a second that I'll tell you about. I widened out my flame trench basically here, right? We did that on purpose. But the important key feature of this pad is a similar feature that I had with Freedom, okay? And that feature is the fact that there's not many degrees of separation between where the rocket attaches to the pad and the friggin' ground, okay? Freedom 10's launch pad is just one of these things, right? It's a structural tube with an SRB, with SRBs as a crossbar, and then two girders facing down that are touching the ground. It's like 2 to 3 degrees of separation away, right? From the ground. That makes it so there's not, if you have less parts between where the spacecraft attaches and the ground, right? Particularly these with same vehicle collision on, right? There's 1, 2, 3 degrees of physical connection to the ground. It's sitting, the whole vehicle is sitting on that fairing, and that fairing is sitting on the plate, right? That basically, there's less stuff in here that can bend and flex for the most part. And now I'm just kind of figuring out all the positions that I need for everything here. And then when I have all the positions figured out, I'll take the Launchpad mount test and then I'll make a new craft file that's the prototype Launchpad and then bring this in, right? And then use all those points in 3D space that I collected from doing this research and bust out a pad real fast. Why not just launch it from the runway? Shadowman, this is a rocket. Why would I launch a rocket from a runway? Think about it, dude. I'm not. Bear with me here. I know you're genuinely wondering, but Shadow, I've been getting asked this question all night. So why not just launch it from the runway? Well, it's a rocket. That would be so. Just because it has wings and stuff, doesn't mean that you could launch it from the runway on a full tank of gas. This thing can't move with. This thing won't be able to rotate. It won't be able to rotate with a full tank of fuel down the runway. Right? Okay, so put jet engines on it. Well, okay, great. That gives me data on how this thing can take off with jet engines attached to the side. That's not good testing. It's not good testing because this thing will never take off from the runway. It's only designed to land on the runway, right? So, I basically don't want to do that, and I want to build the pad so I can work on making a pad that's quicker and easier to use. That will move something really, really quickly. So this thing is basically just, have the pad like this, roll the vehicle in, attach it, turn it upright, fuel it, and go. I'd rather do my flight testing this way, and the reason I want to do my flight testing this way is because, well, this is more accurate to how the thing is actually going to fly. And once again, this thing can't take off from the dang runway. It can't do it. Yeah, it really can't. And I have to build launch pads for it anyway. But Shadowman, the biggest thing that you have to understand is that this is a rocket. It's a rocket. It's not a plane. It's a rocket. Okay? And I know, like, people say, like, yeah, so what? Saying, because this thing is designed to vertically take off and horizontally land, that is what you're asking here by saying, have this thing take off down the runway would be like saying, it would be like saying, oh, that has landing gear on it. Why can't we take that off down the runway? There's landing gear. See? See what I'm talking about? It's a rocket, dude. Rockets don't do this. I mean, some do. But like, Virgin Orbit, there's Virgin Orbit, right? But it's attached to a 747, So, yeah, I know. Just because it's designed to horizontally land doesn't mean it's designed to horizontally take off, It would be fun to try, though. And honest, I will guarantee you that test would end in probably not very well. I mean, if chat wants to keep pushing for it, I guess I could put jet engines on the side of this thing and then maybe have it take off. But I don't really want to try that. I'd rather get testing data that's more analogous with coming back from re-entry. So I would rather launch it vertically on a suborbital hop and then have it fly around and then come back down. Yeah, I would rather do that. It does look cool though, doesn't it? This design's pretty sick. I'm pretty happy with this. Anyway, let's keep going. We did jet engines with the Dart, but it was much smaller than this. Yeah, we did those with Dart, Dave, and look what happened. I lost like 5 or 6 darts from taxi tests. And then, even then, we messed with the gear for like 5 minutes, and, I knew it bonked out, and the gear still was the Achilles heel of Dart. It still ended up being the problem. So I'd rather test as you fly, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Alright, so I widened out the flame trench to be able to handle the engines wiggling around in there, right? For when we do thrust vector checks. I moved the pivot point down so it's below surface level so that I can line up the TE with everything. This will give me room to put hinges down in here. And now I noticed something. Widening out the flame trench, right, to allow for the engines to wiggle. Check it out. Yeah, that's a problem. That's an issue. We're gonna need to figure that one out. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make another one of these locators right here. See how these are just kind of locating the shape and height that this needs to be able to hook onto the side of the pad, right? I grew up in Palmdale, where Rockwell and Lockheed, my dad worked for Northrop, have manufacturing plants because it's close to Edwards. This is the X-33 chopstick. Yeah. I built one in KSP, or at least I'm trying to. Is there a point of me staying up or not? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Villa. I don't have that answer for you. I want to get this thing flown, but if you need to go to sleep, you have something important to do, go do it. I'll stay up. It's alright. Yeah. No problem. I'm not trying... Like, okay. Guys, you gotta understand. I'm not trying to waste your time here. I'm trying to waste your time. I'm not trying to waste your time. Oh, nice Pavlovian slip. Nice. I'm not trying to waste your time here. This stuff is just gonna take some time to engineer. That's all. And I know there's been a distinct lack of launching. I understand that. I get it. I gotta make sure I do this right, fellas. I have to. I have to make sure we do this right because I don't want any problems. Look, the last time I said I insisted on taking my time with a launch pad, I made the crane. I made the crane and the launch pad for Freedom, which was good enough to use rockets. It was good enough to be able to accept rockets that I hadn't even designed yet. You know? You got it. You can't screw around with this stuff, especially with the constricting rules that I use, you know? Yeah, I think it's that one, Demo. I think it's that one, but... yeah. I think it's that one. I think it's the Screw-Uvian slip. I'm sorry. You're right, but I couldn't resist. Hi, Pick! What's up, man? Yeah, Duel. Like, once again, I'm not trying to string you guys on. It'd be, you know, I know there's, like, YouTubers and Twitch streamers out there that intentionally draw content out. Like, you know those YouTube videos where, like, oh, I dropped a bowling ball off of a crane, right? And they stretch it into, like, a 15-minute freaking video. It's like, dude, shut up. Just drop the damn bowling ball off the crane and watch it crush something. Holy crap. Like, I assure you, I'm not doing that. I actually have to sit here and engineer this stuff, or Kerbal will eat it. Yeah, Kerbal likes to eat things. The Kraken likes to eat stuff. You know those videos. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where they're like, oh my god, guys, do you see this? Look at this bowling ball. Look at how red it is, guys. Guys, can you see how red this thing is? Wow, can we get like 1,000 likes for how red this bowling ball is? It's just like... At this point, I hope that bowling ball lands on my head. Because you make me want to end it. You know, like... That's awfully specific. No. So trust me, just let me figure this out. I assure you there's no gimmicks here. I'm just trying to make it so it doesn't blow up. I swear that's what I'm doing. I totally like that video, just saying. I'm sure the video's great, and I'm sure those guys are cool, J-Tacos. It's just, yeah, you know exactly the type of video that I'm talking about. Like, nothing against the guys that drop things off of cranes. That actually is pretty cool. Yeah, if I wanted to stretch content, what I would do is end the stream right now after streaming for how long and be like, yeah, I'll catch you guys on Monday for this. But no, I made mission mode, so I couldn't do that. So building Launchpad content doesn't get drawn out over 6 months. That's one of the reasons why mission mode exists. So it lights a fire under my butt. So I don't get comfortable with my surroundings. That's the reason why, part of the reason why I did it. Part of the reason why I like these rules. Keep things dynamic. There's still the pressure of getting it right. And it's made me engineer pads instead of taking like 5 months to engineer a pad, it took me like a week. All right, anyway, where was I? Oh yes. Are you gonna start posting your videos to YouTube anytime soon? Already done that. Drummer's on that. He's been posting them, yeah. I noticed that only 2% of you are subscribed. You gotta do it. It really helps me out. Yep. Okay. Okay. Ring the bell. Dude, if I was a YouTuber, you know what I'd say? Like, if I just did YouTube full time, you know what I'd be like? I'd be like, hit the damn subscribe button, or don't. I don't give a crap. Piss off. You don't like the video, leave. Probably say that. Wait, I do say that. I'd prefer to be honest. You know? I'd probably be like, yo, hit the subscribe button so I can make more money, please. Like, honest YouTuber. Just hit, if you hit that, more people see the video, I make more money that way. I want to make more money. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I want this. So just do it. Yeah, subscribe to my OnlyFans. Oh, God. Okay, back to work. Have you ever heard of Twitch Prime? Oh, God. Just kill me. Alright, so the landing gear is getting in the way. So that's what I was doing. So if we rotate this back down into this position, the landing gear is getting in the way. So we need to give me one of my locators here, and this locator will be right here. Then what I'm gonna do for the actual erector right here, use the biggest panel I can think of. Actually, wings for this probably would be better. Yeah. Hang on. Because less parts. Although, I did, I mean, the top of this thing, you know, I guess it would be panels, right? Like, they will. I just leave them down so I get an idea where the ground level is, Jonas. But yeah, they will, absolutely. Do you think there will be more customizable paints, rocket fuels, and tanks? Yeah, it's possible. You know what? If I make the surface of... I'd rather make the surface of this out of panels. It's better to make the pads out of stuff that has high impact tolerance. So... And once again, just a mock-up. I don't know what the final design is going to look like, but I do need locators to oh my lord. I do need locators to get basically the length of this, so when we attach to the to this. Yeah, it could use same vessel collision, couldn't it? Oh, I see how they did this. Yeah, okay. Truck with the wheels out here that's U-shaped that can drive underneath here, pick up on this thing, and then if I have guide rails up here like I use on the existing pad, we have guide rails. This thing can just drive in. I can line it up perfectly square with the TE, dock it into position, right? I see how they did this. I see what they're doing here. Okay. Okay. Pretty cool. Yeah, Van, it's getting there, man. We're getting there. I'm actually pretty happy. This, once again, like, this pad is not going to be as bad as I thought it would. Really, it's not. It's not going to be Condor's pad, that's for sure. And there's your shape. We still should probably make a point to pick up on here. But I'm debating making the forward bipod strut on this. See, there's a forward attachment piece right there, just for when it's pushing the thing up. I'm debating just making that same vessel collision or something and going from there. Like, it doesn't need to be... Like, take this, turn on same vessel collision, deploy it, and just... All this needs to do is just hold it up. Like that, that's it. Took me 6 months to build it, T-Man. If I did same vessel collision on that panel and that panel only, right? When you dock to this, it would pick up on that same vessel collision, and then it would pick up on same vessel collision here as well. So docking it won't jitter the pad at all. Please don't hit me. Where's the payload going to be? I left the payload bay unfinished, KTR. I have to evaluate what the payload mass to orbit, if at all, with this thing is. I might end up losing a couple of prototypes. But at least we're going to lose them in a nice fiery explosion. And then these will just do that, right? And then this thing will be on a separate hinge, and it will go back down. I don't know how I'm going to have a double hinge mechanism, though. Cal controllers could probably do that. Yeah. Yeah, I could have Cal controllers there. And I could do one hinge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. How wide can I make this with hinges? Like, how wide can we go? There's the center hinge, right? So, this G11 will be on that pivot point right there, right? Like, just how wide can we get here? Five. All right. We can go 5 before this thing starts getting really weird. But then again, the hinges aren't colliding with anything. The colliding part of the hinges are over here, so... Neat little project I'm slowly working on in Blender for my school, Mars Colony. I do like it, my pick. That's cool, man. So... if we run a hierarchy... No. Okay, we can go 5 wide. I'll leave that. We'll leave that for a little bit later. This is my generic verticator that I made quick earlier. Nice. Hey, that looks good. Nice little launch pad there, Illness. Hell yeah. See, we gotta make this thing be able to move independently of the main launch table. But I could just do that by having a Cal controller controlling all the hinges here, and then when we want to put the erector back down, right? No, the hinges don't even need to be powered because we're going to use hydraulics. But if that's the case, how do I unlock? How do I make it so it doesn't carry this with it? I'm gonna have to parent hinges. Ooh, that might get a little complicated. So, alright. Here. Let me just finish thinking this out. So, what's our total range of movement? This thing needs to be able to do this, right? So, the erector will have that position, and it can go up to that position there. And then, oh geez. And then, when the pad is like this, the erector's in that position. What's the full degree of movement here? Full degree of movement is 180 degrees. Good. This is actually pretty straightforward stuff. Alright, watch. So, what I can do, for instance, if I was going to design this, I want to make it idiot-proof. So I want to make it so this thing, the transporter arm can only move, the erector arm can only move back when that thing is in the vertical position. So how do we do that? that's not the right degree of motion that we need here for this, right? So we'd have to put another hinge on top of it, right? Like that. We'd have to put another hinge on top, and we obviously need the transporter pivoting from the same area, right? And now when this thing rotates forward, now what's our degree of motion? Yeah, that hinge needs to be upside down. Oh boy. Okay. Gotta make sure the hinges are super stable. Well, you can get that by grouping up hinges together. I'll explain how to do that in a moment. You strut them all together. But we also gotta, yeah. This is the part that I'm gonna be the most worried about, because this is the most susceptible to pad drift. But then again, if this thing is sitting on here, it might not be. It might also be a good idea to put like another plate down here, a strong back for my strong back, but this strong back stays there and it rests on it. I have a theory that if you use same vessel collision, you should be able to mitigate drift, at least to an extent, because the drift happens from load being exerted on the hydraulic. So, maybe. It's possible. So now that has the degree of motion that I need, right? The transporter can be up like that, right? And then when this thing is rotated like that, it's straight back, right? And then when this thing rotates forward, this thing will rotate down. We don't need 180 degrees of movement here. We really don't. Yeah, well, that's the plan. That's what I'm trying. I'm hoping. See, I've never tested anything like this in KSP. I'm not sure how well that's going to work. The other way to do this would be to come up with a way to couple those two things together. So, have like a docking port on the fairing right here, and then have a docking port on the TE right here. So get rid of the hinges for a moment, and then I just stack hinges across and all the hinges work together. All the hinges are mated to the erector, for instance, right? And then this thing moves into position like this, and then this will be a local vessel unlock right here, and then like that. If the hinges are free floating, and say we have 6 hinges across, 3 of them are attached to this and 3 of them are attached to this, and they're free floating, the only way to get the hinges to go together would be if we did that. Thanks, Lulz. I'm glad you like it. That's the other way to do it. And this won't snap dock anything because this will all be one vehicle. It's possible, yeah, that this is all within the realm of possibility. I think the inverted hinge would probably be a better way to do this, because even same vessel docking is still imprecise. Have you played Simple Rockets? No, Marcus. I haven't, but I know about Simple Rockets. It's a cool game. We got to find a way to push the entire thing up, well, like that. And then I need to find a way after that to be able to separate the hydraulics. That's how they did it. Oh, that's smart. I got it. I remember. I remember now. No, I'm not pulling this out of my tail. I swear. I got enough. I know. I know. Relax. Relax. Just shut up. Just shut up. I figured this out. We figured this out yesterday. Look. So if we go into NASA's image archive and we type X33, it comes up with a bunch of pictures from the program. All right. One of those pictures, this one, with the pad, they were doing load tests on the pad. This is the actual thing that this is based off of, right? Look. They have hydraulic controllers for the launch table and for the erector. There's hydraulics on both sides. The hinge, take the hinge completely out of the equation. Have hydraulics, when you go to move the entire thing, have hydraulics pull on one side and push on the other, and then have those ones move back. I can do that with Cal controllers. That's no problem. That's easy. Super easy, actually. And yes, this is a picture of X33's pad. This thing that's attached on the pad is a load simulator. Those are just blocks of concrete. They do this, they use a pathfinder like this. See those I-beams and everything? They use a pathfinder like that, and it picks up on the hold down points. So it's the hold down points for the X33 just attached to a bunch of I-beams and stuff, right? The reason why they do this is to make sure that the pad hydraulics work. We'll do a test like this. Yeah, I'll do a test like this with a mass simulator that picks up on all the parts. I'll have to do a test like this. We're not at this point yet, though. What about the toolbox? We could put the toolbox in there. We have toolboxes, remember? I mean, there's me, but also I could put the toolbox in there. And I could actually put stuff in it that could be useful to using the pad. Go figure. I want this all out in front of the hinges, right there. There we go. And now, the transporter erector trench can go right there. To be honest, guys, this is something I should have done with Condor's pad. I should have done this way. This would have been way better of an idea doing this way. Craze, really not today either? What do you mean? Wait, what? I'm a confused. You know, we might want to move because of the hydraulics that are going to be here. The hydraulics need to pull down, and if they need to pull down, the whole pivot point of this should probably go forward just a little bit. It should probably go right there. But if it does do that, where does that move everything? Okay, that moves that stuff inward. Yeah, okay. And that means means I can move this way just a little bit, right? And I don't think that's going to change anything else on the pad. And yeah, see, we'll have this thing like sitting right here, and we'll be able to watch it from here, and watch everything turn on in the flame trench. And I could, like, if we have time and the part count, I'll make a deflector and I'll make it look nice. Actually, hold on. The whole reason I did that was to... Wait, what are these attached to? Oh, okay. Alright. Moving the hinge like that is not gonna... Yay. Moving the hinge like this is not... Yeah, that puts the hydraulics on this side pretty damn close. They're basically... Okay, the hydraulics are basically at the bottom of the launch mount. Would the current market, would the X-33 project be viable? You'd need to build something a little bit bigger, KTR. The X-33 was not designed to go orbital. It was designed to go suborbital. It didn't have enough delta V to get into space. So the real one would have to be a little bit bigger. But yeah, I mean, the only, like, I'll be honest, the only way anybody would ever try to do the X-33 again is if they had prior knowledge. So it would have to be somebody like Lockheed or Boeing or whomever. And even then, it's a couple $1 billion for a small sat launcher. SSTOs, they don't make a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure if somebody brought one to market and they could get the price down from ease of operation, yeah, it's possible. Oh, this thing is going to be so cool. Oh yeah, Casper? Yeah. Alright, let me just find a let's just put, once again, just test points, right? Say we put our pivot point on the very corner of this, right? Where does that end up if we turn this way? And if I move that back to where I had it before? Right there? Okay. Alright. Now the real question is, do we want these here? Do we want to line those hydraulics up when it's in this position? Do I want to put the pivot? No, we'd want the pivot point out here. You would want this to be... You'd want that to be out here like this, right? And then when we go to move this thing, right, like that, these things can yoink down on this thing. And then they'll be in the vertical position like that. Play it again? I could play it till the end of the night, Casper. You want me to play it again? I'll play it again. Saturday night, man. Keep them out of the engine exhaust plumes. Jim, I think we're in the clear. Here, let's gimbal lock one of the engines and let's see what it does. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where does that thrust transform get us? Uncapping. I watched a video in which Elon said SpaceX's Starship could SSTO if it had modifications made. Unfortunately, said modifications include removing the heat shield, which kind of negates the whole point. Guess my point is if anybody can work out how to make SSTO viable, it would be Elon and his brainiacs. Yeah, uncapping, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, dude, if you really want to know, most first stages could SSTO. If they took a Falcon 9 first stage and just put a nose cone on, like, okay, so a Falcon Heavy core, literally a Falcon Heavy core, the side boosters with the nose cone on it, that'll make it into space by itself, no problem. Oh yeah, that'll make it. Yeah, sure, that has enough Delta V. Oh yeah, it could do it. Because it doesn't have a heat shield on it, right? And you wouldn't even need that many engines. You don't need 9 engines. You could probably SSTO on maybe 5 at best. You could do that. 3 maybe if it's light enough, right? Because you don't need all that TWR because you have no second stage. You could take 4 of the engines off. A Falcon Heavy side booster could make it all the way into space, no problem. But why? You're not getting it back down. There's no way it's going to survive re-entry. It can't supersonic retro propulsion, you know? Super Heavy could make it all the way into space. Oh yeah, Super Heavy could. Sure, with the right amount of engines, yeah, absolutely. It'll absolutely make it into space. Now people say SpaceX is going to make SpaceX is going to make tankers, right? They're going to make tankers. They're going to make tankers. And everybody thinks the tanker is going to be a variant of Starship. I disagree. If the bottom of Super Heavy has the exact same umbilical as the bottom of Starship, why not SSTO a Super Heavy up into space, put a nose cone on it, jettison the nose cone when you're up there, or on the way up, send the whole frigging thing up into space, and then send starships up. You could butt a starship to one side, right? Fill that thing up with fuel, right? And I said tankers. I meant propellant depots in this analogy, right? So Super Heavy makes it all the way up, butt one starship up against it, fill it up, butt another starship up to transfer fuel out. So the tankers go on one side, and actual starships that are bound for the lunar surface go on another side. See what I'm talking about? If you have an androgynous attachment system like how I think the umbilicals are going to be on Starship, I'm pretty sure Starship has an androgynous fueling umbilical. And if it does, that means you could butt a Starship up to the back of this thing, or butt a Starship up to the front of this thing, and refuel on both sides. You could send up Super Heavy and use Super Heavy as an on-orbit tanker. Plumbing's already all there for that. Especially if they use Super Heavy to fuel Starship on the pad, which I think that's what they'll do. Why jettison the nose away? Yeah, you could just use the back if you want. Don't you end up tossing all those engines away though? If Super Heavy makes it into space, yeah, I guess those Raptors turn into one-use engines, but you won't need 28 engines to send a Super Heavy into space without a Starship on top of it. Right? It's possible. And also, Jim, you're right. These are in the way, so these need to go here. Okay. Last, I'm sorry. Nice. Test flight today, or I don't know. Dara, I don't want to test it like a jet, but you guys, I might do it just because people are anxious for a test flight. I know it's not going to end well, but yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. If I did a test flight, though, Sawyer, I wouldn't have the shuttle engines on it. I'd put ore tanks here. I'm serious. I'd put ore tanks there. I'd just put 2 full ore tanks at the back and just strut those into position, SLS Pathfinder style. Yeah, that's what I'd probably do. I'm not risking shuttle engines on a stupid flight like that. Yeah, if we were going to do it. No, don't give in to peer pressure. Well, yeah, people want to see something, though, but yeah, I suppose. How well does it fly then? If I put the jet engines on, if I put the jet engines on in a place where they line up on the minor axis of the vehicle, so the axis that the wings are on, if I put jets mounted over the center of mass, it should be able to rotate, but I really just don't want to take that chance, but who knows. Like, the jet engines would have to be mounted, like, out here somewhere and kind of go underneath the wing. It might work. It would end up looking like they would be back here. The jet engines would be, like, back here somewhere. And the jet exhaust would go underneath the wing. And then I'd just use shuttle. I would use ore tanks. Because shuttle engines are 4 tons, and ore tanks, when you fill them up, are 3.5. It's close enough. If I just move them back a smidge, they'll have the same moment over the center of mass. I would, yeah, John, I'm with you on that one. I would prefer to wait until we do it. I'd prefer to wait to do it right. There you go, all's nice. Guys, the schedule's gonna slip though, that's the thing. I don't think I'm gonna, and that's why I kind of wanted to do a test flight, because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this done. This pad, I'll probably, like, I'm budgeting out in my head, maybe 1 to 2 more streams. 1 more full stream, I'll have the pad fully operational. But next week, I'm supposed to start design on the big boy. And then I have to engineer the big boy. And then I have to build a pad like this for the big boy. Because I'm not sure it'll be able to use this. Remember, everything's got to be scalable. So this whole pad that I'm thinking about building here is going to have to be scalable to something 3 times the size. That's why I made the thing so wide. I don't know if I could launch both of them on the same pad. Maybe? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But either way, I'm not going to skimp on this thing's design. That's a really bad idea. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Because, yeah, I don't want something like what happened with Dart to happen again. trying to mark center of mass here, guys. That's where the hydraulics are going to need to push. More or less. I think that's where they are pushing on this one. Let me see if I can find another picture. Huh. Maybe because those are pulling down, you don't need to do that. Huh. Yeah, Kyron, I'm with you on that one, so we'll just go and see where it gets us, man. But I hope you guys are enjoying this either way. Last pose. I mean, if you run late on delivery, you could just get more money. That's how defense contracts work. Yeah. I don't need more money. It's time this time around, believe it or not.
Tell me why should we wait until tonight? The sweetest love is made by day. It feels so right. Baby, why should we wait until tonight? If we make
I'm out. You're off for the night. Okay.
it feels so right. Tell me why should we wait until tonight? The sweetest love is made by day. It feels so
All right. So these are gonna have to be a cylinder arm.
Baby, why should we wait until tonight?
They're gonna have to work like the crane cylinders.
We make love in the light of day. It feels so right.
So how much force is this thing? The vehicle is gonna weigh about 40 tons, and then I'll estimate 10 tons there. And we have 800, 1600 kilonewtons. So 3200 kilonewtons pushing on this side, and then
Discovery,
1600
go at
pushing
throttle.
on that side. So we can do a quick experiment here. Find something that's about 50 tons, right? That's 40. Find something that's 9. So this is about 50 tons, right? Now find an engine. We have 3200 pushing on one side, right? And then we have 16 pulling on another. So let's set this for vacuum, right? 2.76 TWR with 1500 kilonewtons. Yeah. Okay, that's more than enough. Those hydraulics will manhandle this thing. Sky Seas, 28-month resub. Thanks, man. Are you gonna put it up empty, then fuel it? Yeah, Joshy, I think that's the right move, don't you? Also, for the larger design, no arc sign, but once again, just like everything else with this build, this is scalable. Scalable design. Last again, please. We need a new rule in mission mode that lets you buy time with money. I actually don't hate that idea. Are you saying that I can use John, you want me to use Kerbal funds to buy time from chat? What's the conversion rate? I don't hate it. I don't hate that idea, man. 1 million is 1 week? Oh, that's a bad idea. That's... Oh, God. 1 day is 100K? Oh, okay. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. We'll talk more about it on Monday, okay? Morris, budget was 3 million, right? What did you use already? I used 1.6 to upgrade the VAB because the vehicle was 350 parts. That's about it. Wouldn't just be the equivalent of having a monetary penalty when you deliver late? I guess, Scrib. I'm not sure. I want to get back to designing, fellas, if that's okay. Aren't those hydraulics going to be underground? Underground relative to the launching surface here. This is going to be hanging off the side of the pad wood bite. So if you picture like the launch pad right here, right, where the rocket would be on launch clamps, right? And then the rocket's kind of the pad is kind of a pyramid structure, I guess. This is aligned with the top of the pad, and then the slope on the pad is here, and the posts are right at the bottom of the slope. The idea is that I can push, instead of like using a crane or whatever, I can use a truck, and we could drive this thing up over the pad. We can roll it onto here, and I can drive it right up to the erector, and I could drive it right up in here, the entire vehicle, place it on this whole thing, and because we're, you know, the pad is right here, the ground is right here, we should be able to, I should be able to, you know, we don't need any crane to like lift it up and put it on anything, we just drive it right in. Hey Sean, 8-month resub. Money? No. EJ sub. Thanks, man. Real quick, in a VOD back along, you covered a Soyuz re-entry. In it, there is MC17. It's MS-17, drummer. Yep. Hey, Pollux. Question was, what was that little twist when you attach the pusher rod? It's so I can select either one of these things. If you look at it like this, you can select one or the other. That's why I twisted it. No problem. No problem, Drum V. Okay. The last couple of things that I'm going to pick up on here and mark before we work on this version of the pad is I'm going to mark where the landing gear is touching the ground. I'll just use panels for that. We have to take into account that the gear might be a little compressed, so. Have you done any test flights? No. No, I haven't. Not yet. Actually, you know what? We don't even need a control surface here. Now that I'm really thinking about this, that doesn't need to be a control surface. All it needs to be is a girder segment. It's just a girder segment. If I make the truck, if we make the transport truck into kind of like a U shape almost, right? I just need something with same vessel collision on right there, and then SVI on that. Right? If we roll the vehicle in, right? If we roll the vehicle in this way, there's nothing that's going to impede this thing. We roll it on the truck, we attach the thing, and all I have to do is just leave a little bit of gap right there. This thing doesn't need to be fixed, it's just same vessel collision, and it can just push on that panel. Now, what I would probably want to do is put some struts on that panel. So, yeah. I'm processing a ton of your VODs over the last 2 months. I've titled about 100 out of 250. Wow, you stream a lot. I am limited to 6 YouTube uploads per day until I get the quota expanded, so this is just the prep work. Yikes. Well, thank you for all your hard work, drummer. Oh no. You like it, Rocket Guy? Thanks, man. Dude, Rocket Guy, the X33's pad is simultaneously one of the simplest launch pads I think I've ever seen, but also it's one of the most complicated. It is. It's complicated. Yeah. And also the ground, I just noticed that the ground height is there. Because that's where the pad is. Turned out much sleeker than I originally thought. Thanks, Doom. Yeah, I had to keep this thing kind of lightweight, man. Oh, Doom, I looked on Google Earth, dude, and I figured out where the pad is. Not that that's some kind of crazy revelation or anything, but, why not just raise the whole platform? Falcon, the vertical I-beams that are at each corner are the height that I needed to be at for it to be level. I did some testing earlier. Doom, check this out. So, yeah, it's way over here. It's out here in the middle of nothing. That's the old X33 pad. It seems like it's been AIP for a long time. But look, there's the load simulator right there. See it? Load simulator, water tower for the sound suppressor, the condensers for the hydrogen system are right there. For the hydrolock system, there's the purge flame, right? And then the hangar is covering up the transporter erector. For all we know, the TE's just sitting in there. Yeah, LOX tank would have been over here. Yep. And then right here is where they would have wheeled the vehicle in. How would they have How would they have done that? The trench, because the trench is right there. Out front. They would have had to wheel the... Oh no, okay. The flame trench is going this way. Oh, it's backwards to how I thought it was. Okay. So the inside of the big building. Wait, how the heck does that work? What's the big building? this is right. See right there? That's the rails. The rails, you can see the rails for the building right there. What's that big building for? Huh. See, in these pictures, the only building is that one. See the one with the corrugated steel? That's this building. What the hell is that one? That one shouldn't... Well, in the original designs, it shouldn't be there. Here, hold on. Let's... X-33 launch pad. Let's just take a look. See if there's some archival pictures in here. Oh. Yeah, that other building isn't there. Maybe a useful photo. Oh, wouldn't you know? I think the big building was added later for something else because look, it's not in this picture either. It's not there. That big building is over the flame trench and the transporter erector. I wonder what they do. Oh, they're doing something. No, they're probably doing nothing out there. No, no. For all we know, the X-37 or the X-33 works. Places get repurposed constantly. Yeah, I believe you. Like, what happens if we go like this? Yeah, that building has been there since 05. 94. In 94. Nothing was there. Look. And whoop. Where are the Atlas V's hold down points? They're on the same thing that holds the SRBs. In fact, the hold down points on Atlas V are very similar in construction to the hold down points. They're downward facing. I know, me too, Fractal. So it wasn't really canceled. Yeah, see the flame trench is there, so they would have wheeled the X-33 in with the nose facing towards this thing, right? Turned it here, backed it up to the pad, right? And then this whole thing would have happened. The X-33 looks like a UFO. I mean, people do report seeing triangular-shaped craft all the time that look like that. For all we know, it friggin' works. Wouldn't that be something? Now, the real question is, where do you launch a rocket from to hide it? Where do you launch it from where no one would see it? You can't do that at Edwards. Wakanda. Nice. Yeah, see, and then this happens. What would the payload from this have been? Well, the X-33, Jonas, was just a suborbital demonstrator, dude. It wasn't supposed to fly into space. It was supposed to do... Actually, Jonas, it was supposed to do something very similar to what we saw Virgin Galactic do today. Only not launching off of a stratolauncher, right? It just goes up and then comes right back down. This was just a test. This was just the test to test the design. The design was supposed to lead to this. And I don't know why they chose to have their dark vehicle flying at night. The X-33 was always supposed to be a pathway technology to the big boy. Yeah, Pie Guy, it's most likely something, a defense project, dude. Yeah. This is what the big boy payload is gonna be, guys. It's gonna be this. It's just not the same without the music. Alright, fine. That's a really high orbit.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Altitude Guy, 60-month resub. Thank you. doesn't get muted.
Venture Star is designed with simplicity
I don't know
and
this song.
operational efficiency, enabling return to space on a regular basis.
See the truck? The truck drives
With
underneath
its
it,
aircraft
and
like ground up
it just picks it up like an SPMT.
and land from newly developed spaceports.
Newly developed spaceports.
Enhancing
God damn
existing space markets. Servicing the International Space Station.
Is this thing actually being developed? No. They canceled it in 2001.
Venture Star will open space to new markets and the imagination of entrepreneurs.
I hate you. I can't watch the end. I'm gonna get annoyed. All right. Anyway, back to work. Starship is Venture Star Mark II. Okay. All right, guys. I think I got everything that I wanted here. Oh, nice, Bandit. Cool. Thanks, Edelweiss. Yeah, I know, Does Doodles. I know what you mean. Okay. Yeah, maybe Vanguard. Okay, that put everything in alignment, guys. I think we're good. We can start building this thing out. Is this thing meant to drive onto its pad from the vanilla pad? Is that why it's on stilts? Yes. The vanilla pad will be right here, and I will make a bridge. I'll make a bridge that goes over it. Doom. I'll make a bridge, and it doesn't need to be that wide, honestly. Actually, you reminded me that it would probably be good to get myself a width measurement on this thing. then again, maybe I want it to be the whole width. What if we put the hanger, on top of this, and then just put rails, and have the hanger move onto the vanilla pad during launch operations? It actually, no, I don't think that's a good idea. It'd be kind of cool though. Could Starship ever do this type of design? Starship, no, T-Man. T-Man, Starship is a totally different vehicle. It might as well not, like, I know that both of them are rockets, right? But they're so far away in design from each other, dude, you might as well call this a battleship. So, in the context of that question, T-Man, that would be like asking, hey, can Starship turn into a battleship? I don't think so. Yeah, Sawyer, that's right. Let's just make a gantry. Last. Look what I'm modeling in Blender. Nice Arleigh Burke. Cool. Good job. Looks good. Alright, I don't think I need this in here anymore. I'm pretty sure I have everything that I need to build the pad. I only lined up everything here to, like, the only finalized bit is basically that. Alright, let's start building it out. So, I'm gonna get rid of our prototype here. I think Starship's a little too big for this pad design. Yeah, me too. T-Man, I don't know where you got the idea that Venture Star and Starship are anywhere near each other. The only thing they have in common is that they both have star in the name. Other than that, it's completely dissimilar architecture. Like I said, Starship has about as much in common with the X-33 as Starship has in common with, like, a battleship. Yeah, so I don't know where you're getting the ideas of, like, oh, could this might work. You know, no. Starship uses a completely different architecture. For integration, for everything, dude. Banana. Okay. Alright, let's go. Where are we at? Well, how's it going? Good, RJ. Yeah, it's going pretty cool. Going pretty cool. No, it's going alright, man. There we go. I recall banana. Yeah, right. Alright. So here's my blueprint. This is essentially a blueprint for how I'm going to build the pad. So what I'm going to do now, let's go over here. Can't you use the same lifting mechanism from that Titan pad you made? No, but I can use this one because that's the one that I engineered for the vehicle that I'm trying to launch, dude. Yeah, we can do that. It's all right, Grillo. All that proves is that people are interested in the project, which I have to admit, I'd prefer that over a dead chat, to be honest with you. Okay. This one's gonna be like linguine, dudes. I'll tell you that. It's gonna be flopping all over the place. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure that everything that we put out is not gonna foul on anything. Like all the points where I'm touching the ground doesn't hit the pipes or anything, because I did move some stuff around from the original version that you just saw. Okay, that thing's freaking out, but we're not fouling on anything, which is good. I hope this thing doesn't think this thing is flying right now. I hope it doesn't think it's flying. I hope it understands that it's contacting the ground. Yeah, see, all the points where I'm touching the ground are not fouling on any particular thing, so we're good. So I'm going to go to the Space Center now and just pretend that whole didn't happen. Wild, wacky, inflatable arm flailing tube pad. Wild, wacky, inflatable arm flailing tube pad. Wild, wacky, inflatable arm flailing tube pad. Hi, I'm Eric Johnson, President and CEO of Eric Johnson's Wild, Wacky, Inflatable Arm Flailing Tube Pad Emporium and Warehouse. Thanks to the Kraken strike, I'm now currently overstocked on all Wild, Wacky, Inflatable Arm Flailing Tube Pads, and I'm passing the savings on to you! Protect your rockets. Confuse your Kerbals. Shut up and take my money. Seek help. You know what? At what point, Bomb, is seeking help just not worth it? Sometimes you just gotta let stuff kind of be. Tell your neighbors. Protect your crops. Confuse your neighbors. Hail a cab. Testify in church or just raise the roof.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Diamond, what's going on, man? Not to derail the conversation. Why is everybody saying that today? Not to derail the conversation. When is the next crew rotation for your space station? They're on a long duration flight. Yeah, they're on a long duration flight. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. That's why we keep getting derailed. That's right. They're on a long duration flight. Don't worry, I talked to their families. Everybody's cool with it. Yeah. Yeah. They're returning? They'll return when this is working. Not to derail the conversation, but what is life? Oh, well, that's really easy. Life is basically when you take... And then that's kind of how it works. It's a little weird, but yeah, there you go. By God, I think he's right. I disagree. You'd be wrong, but alright. Banana. Banana. Oh, he didn't say it. And that's all I have to say about that. I tell you what, someone goes to Vietnam. In Vietnam, they... And that's all I have to say about that. What's your name, son? My name's Forrest. Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump! That's beautiful, man. Lieutenant Dan. Ice cream. Lieutenant Dan. Ice cream. Okay. And then all of a sudden, something came up and bit me. Ah, something bit me! They gave you the Congressional Medal of Honor. I was supposed to die in the field with honor. I was Lieutenant Dan Taylor. You stale, Lieutenant Dan. What time is racing? Probably very soon. It's my boat. Jenny. Yeah, that Lieutenant Dan got me involved in some kind of fruit company. Hold on a second, boy. Are you telling me that you're the owner of the Bubba Gum Shrimp Incorporation? Oh, yes, sir. We have more money than Davy Crockett. Oh, he was standing next to a millionaire. Huh. Okay, that's flush. Perfect. And Lieutenant Dan got me involved with some kind of fruit company. I don't know what. That's all I know about that. You know what, Jason? I do. Very vaguely, but I do. Alright, so this is the root part for the pad here. And now, just like the other pads, I'm building everything off of a fuselage. Just like this. You know what? Does that need to be touching the ground? Huh. Huh. I mean, this thing is gonna have a lot of load on top of it. Huh. Ah! New legs for Lieutenant Dan. New legs. They said it was $1 million wood. Amish just must have kept that money. I'd see a nickel with that. It just because I cut that lawn for free. Allah. 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 What? Oh. Alright. Did that test. X out of this. What's attached to the forward node here on this? So both of the nodes are blocked out. Is this attached to the forward node? No. Alright, I got an idea. So take this, right? And if I take this, because I think that's attached to the node on the root part, these should just line up perfectly. Like, alright, that's perfectly aligned. Get rid of this. Take this. And basically put it there, and that should open up an attachment node on the root part. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this is because I just needed a spot to attach. This whole thing here is just the blueprint. This is just the marks for everything. This is not what the final pad is going to look like. I only use this to measure height and everything. The new one is going to look very different. Once again, I just use this to mark pivot points and everything. It's basically like a wireframe mesh. It's the Kerbal equivalent of a wire mesh. Little people first! Alright, so now give me one of these, right? And this right here will be the root part of the new launch pad, okay? So I'm going to take this thing, and I'm going to do this, right? And then I got an idea. I'm thinking this plate doesn't need to be like that. It can just be a plate like this. It doesn't need to go all the way to the ground. And if I put that there, that's marking the exact spot where if I get rid of this, the pad blueprint, so to speak, still... Frick. Oh, I moved the hinge. I moved the hinge. That's why it didn't line up. Okay, cool. No, we're still good. So now we're going to go over here and see this piece. Ready? Reroute. I need to change something. Okay, so see if I do local. See how the red and the blue, they're flipping, the red and the blue axis. So we just need to go to local and rotate that 90 degrees. Now they line up. So now when I reroute, and yes, that thing is facing down. So now we have a new root part, and the root part, just like the other pad, is the launch flange. That's everything is going to work around that launch flange, right? So all these parts should still rotate correctly, but it's just that is attached to that. Right. And then the reason why I needed to rotate the red and blue lines is so symmetry works. If the red and blue lines were rotated, the mirror symmetry would work. Mirror symmetry would work this way, and not that way. Not how we think it's going to work. It depends on the orientation of the root part. Your symmetry nodes work off of the root part orientation. Right now, my root part orientation, if I take this and I set it back to world orientation, like the default position, it's that. That's the default position. And then it's rotated 90 degrees. If we rotate 90 degrees on the major axis of the launch pad right here, on the long axis, longitudinal, the symmetry node for mirror and for radial should still work. So I should be able to do... See, radial symmetry still works exactly how we think it's going to work. See what I'm talking about? That's very important. Fellas, I'm going to get ready for racing here in a moment. We're going to need one more stream. I might work on this a little bit off stream, actually, tomorrow night. But yeah, we're going to... This is going to take one good sprint. One good sprint to get this all figured out. This pad shouldn't be a lot of parts. So it ain't going to be that many parts, that's for sure. I overestimated the part. Well, actually, it probably will. This pad should be simpler. We shouldn't need a gigantic freaking crane, right? Yeah, we're running about maybe a day or two behind schedule at this point. But, yeah, this is not bad. It ain't bad at all. I gotta see. Core, how did Core Space do that thing? Do we still have that open? No, I closed it. Alright, I'm gonna take these pictures and we're gonna save these pictures in the VentureStar folder. So you have to guesstimate the chances of the launch vehicle getting to orbit. Hypersonic, if I really control the throttle, then it should be able to. It should be able to get there. We really have to be careful with the flight regime, though. Yeah, we gotta be very careful. If I optimize the flight regime, it might have enough. Like if I control the throttle, so like we don't accelerate too fast down in the atmosphere and cause ridiculous amounts of drag. But I also have to make sure that we don't want to throttle too high, but we don't want to throttle too low. So it might work. It could. Are those margins safe enough for crew? No. No, I don't think so. It depends. What I'll probably do is, because I know we have extra TWR with those shuttle engines, what I'm probably going to do is put where the payload bay would be, I'm going to put fuel. I'm just going to put fuel there. I'll put 9 tons of fuel, for instance. That way, I know we have enough Delta V. I know we'll have enough to get up into space and then come back down. And however much fuel I have left over at the end of the mission, right? However much fuel we have left is your payload capacity for the most part. Any chance you put it on Kerbal X? I want to try it out. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that before. I don't want you guys doing testing for me. No, wait till Monday. Okay? Yeah, wait until Monday, man. Nice autocorrect. Alright, so guys, I'm going to get ready for racing here. Yeah, this... we didn't get a test flight in today, guys, but this is basically everything we need. I could crank this out, you know, as long as chat doesn't get too wonky on us, right? I could crank this out couple of hours of solid work. In fact, I might do it over the weekend if I have time. Are you gonna add fuel drain valves in case we have surplus fuel? Well, Arcsign, if I put the extra fuel tank, our payload fuel, so to speak, if I put that directly on the center of mass, I'm not going to need it, but a fuel dump mechanism would probably be useful, just like what Dart had. I don't necessarily need one, but just in case I do. Alright. Yep. This is everything. So the vehicle's going to back in. Here, I'll show you. We'll just do this so you guys can see. Ouch. Oh, this glitch. That's nice. So the vehicle will back in, it'll dock, right? We'll have a truck and the wheels on the truck and the frame will be right here, and the truck will be kind of U-shaped, right? And then it'll probably pick up on some datums that I put on the vehicle. Like it'll have like a spike or something, and then like we'll just physically carry the thing back over. Or just I'll have some downward facing docking port somewhere, right? And then we'll drive it in. I could use the suspension to adjust this thing, right? We could use this to adjust the suspension, and dock the thing. It'll snap to it, and if the pad's gonna have to. Oh balls! The pad's gonna have to override the vehicle. Because we have to orient to pad. Well, I'll test it. That's probably going to result in an explosion. So we'll undock from that, right? Oh no! If I free float the thing, right? If we're just carrying it and the truck isn't docked, then it'll just snap. It'll snap too. It still could be detrimental, but who knows? And then This thing will move up like this into position, right? We'll mount the box, mount the launch table right here on this piece, right? Same vessel collision, right? And then these hydraulics will pull back on the TE. The TE will go back down into this position here, right? And then, like, I'll put the fuel tanks right here. All the fuel tanks will be on one side. And if we want to fuel up, I could put like we could use the exact same fueling umbilical and mechanism. I'll just put it underneath here. So a fuel truck could drive in underneath, fill up the fuel tanks that are all right here in a row. And then over here, there's the pipes that, from the pad. I don't know what I'll put over here. We'll figure out something. But yeah, we'll put like a little garage over here where the fuel farm is. Yeah, that'll look good. Any ideas on when the next update release date is? No. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm actually hype. And I have a theory that if these things, because these things are basically just pushing in to the ground, right? I don't think they'll drift too much, but don't quote me on that one. And then we could just use cal controllers to program that. Let me just check one more thing here. Let me just get an approximate like count on how many panels we're gonna need for this. We can make this a little bit wider to compensate for the panels. I'm just seeing how many of these I need to put down to, like, I'm trying to figure out the surface area. That's probably going to be the most part intense thing, to be honest. Let's get an approximate. So we have 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 times 2, 72. 72 panels, give or take. And then like 73 and 74. So it's probably going to be about 100 parts for the deck here, give or take. I could probably cut it down a little bit if we wanted to. Maybe note attach hydrologics to panels that rest at ground level. We could, yeah, RJ, eventually when that comes out, that's what I mean about building a pad and taking that into account. I'll just put ground anchors here. Literally just ground anchors. And then we could attach this up to here and then put a docking port on the bottom and have it snap into place. Put the ground anchor in and then put a docking port on the ground anchor, and this could be up here like that, right? Or it would be like that basically, and then just push it down into position, right? Hardest thing would be to get it lined up. And then the hydraulics would be directly anchored into the ground. Like, see, I'm going to design the pad basically around that. Somebody else had mentioned doing that. And that's it, guys. I'm hoping that, like, kind of a triangulated hydraulic system like this, it's not really triangulated, like, there's just one here and then one here, with these pushing into the ground, and same vessel collision in the right spots, that should keep this from drifting. Should. I mean, you never know. And it would suck if the pad was one-time use. But, if that's the way it's got to be. I mean, this isn't going to have much docking and undocking to it, except actually, you know what the biggest hurdle is? The biggest hurdle for me at this point, guys, is how I'm going to attach this. How I'm going to attach this to that. That's it. That's really the big one. I'll be honest. that's the one that's going to be the most difficult. The reason why it's going to be the most difficult is because that's going to be a snap dock with a vehicle resting on another vehicle. Which one is it going to orient to? Remember how I have to have the right configuration here. I have to have the right configuration so when I launch the vehicle from the frigging pad, it defaults control to the vehicle. But at the same time, I also need to make sure that when the vehicle that I want to be able to control when I undock it, I need to be able to attach it to this, right? And I need to know that it's that the vehicle will orient to the pad, because if the pad even shifts a little bit, then because this needs to be oriented to the launch plate now. See what I'm talking about? Like there's a huge trade-off here. Reusable rocket, expendable pad. Not the first time, Entropy. Not the first time. Space shuttle, good example. Yeah, the space shuttle's pad was not reusable. No. Not reusable. The pad for the shuttle needed to be refurbed every couple of launches. Yeah. Oh yeah. Is KSP going to have an issue launching a new vessel with another vessel still touching the pad? I already tested it. That was the first thing I tested, Shady, to see if this thing could be hanging on the top of the pad and I could still put vehicles out. It should be okay. Should be okay. But yeah, we have all the touch points for this. Yeah, it ain't gonna take much. It ain't gonna take long to get this right. And the pad, honestly, the entire pad, no crane, is not gonna be very many parts. It's gonna be maybe what you see on the screen, probably like 100 parts more at best. I don't think, like with the other thing, I need a pad that's 250 parts, and then I need a crane that's 250 parts. I think this whole pad might be 250 parts if I'm looking at this right. If I can engineer this correctly, it's not going to be that bad. So, here's to hoping. All right, I'm going to do some racing now. I'm sorry we didn't get to a test flight today, guys. Yeah, sorry about that. But I had a breakthrough with this design. I kind of it just kind of popped into my head. I started lining up components on our aeroshell prototype, and I'm like, oh crap, this is possible. And not only is it possible, it's not that it wouldn't be very many parts. Now, the one that scales, the scaled up version, that would probably be a little bit more parts than this, and that's going to be definitely a challenge because that vehicle is going to be a lot heavier. But I've made a strongback that can move 90 to 100 tons with Condor before. And that was more complicated than this because that's a two-stage rocket integrated on top of that. We don't need to put a stage together and then roll it to the pad. I just roll the vehicle right back up there and dock it and then go. Like, once again, the docking sequence is going to be the hardest thing there. Great progress today. Good night. All right, Jim. Thank you. I know it's probably too late to ask, but you developed a Scud-style truck that could launch rockets. I know a truck would be too small for this crap. Nice. It is kind of craft, Badger, isn't it? Right? No, you said craft. For this craft, but would a retrofit in some jiggery-pokery to make it an integrated recovery and launch platform provide an alternative if this doesn't work? I'm thinking about it. So, you're saying I have a truck that drives under the X-33, right? Picks it up, moves it around, and then when I get it towards the pad, it scuds. It turns the whole thing and scuds it onto the pad, and then we lower the suspension on the thing and it drops it onto the pad, and then I can drive away. Kind of like, actually, that's kind of like how Soyuz works. So that would be make the recovery vehicle the transporter erector. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, that could work. Once again, the big problem to overcome would be the docking. Flange. It's the same problem that you'd run into with horizontal integration, except the transport erector's on a truck. But that might work in our favor, Badger, because like I can refurbish the crane without recovering the pad. Pad can stay there, and then actually that's not a bad idea, dude. Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. Yeah, if that doesn't work, I'll probably end up doing it that way. And if that doesn't work, I'll just grab the damn thing by the crane and put it on there. We'll just put the crane on top of it. Just put the damn crane on top of it. Yeah. Can you imagine? Like, if I cut out on the... Like, so the pad is U-shaped, right? And the thing rolls in, and I cut inserts on it so it looks like a W now. And then we just rolled the crane in, and we just picked the stupid thing up and put it... Actually, that's a really good idea. God damn it. That's a really good idea. Okay, so we have some fallback plans, Badger. We got some fallback plans. That actually might be a good idea. What's this, Hellfish? TBM Avenger Mass Engine Run. TBM Reunion 2021. Wow, dude, there's an entire fleet of those things. Yeah, you guys, look at this. We'll finish off Kerbal and aviation stuff with this. This is cool, man. Yeah. Look at all the Avengers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them. Cool. Modify the ICBC launcher from Imahara's days. Problem solved. Nah, it'd be a little more complicated than that. Mission timing. Come on. Come on. Come on now. Turn. Adjust the timing. Dude, this is probably so freaking loud. It's the air conditioner roundabout. It's getting warm. Dude, this thing's running open headers. These things are so loud. That's nice. Wow, dude. You gotta be kidding me. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's wrong with 25? Come on, 25. That's nice. Oh, guy's running a little fuel rich. Just the mixture, man. Oh, they're all running fuel rich. That's probably on purpose then. Oh, no, the flames are blue, guys. The flames are blue. They're blue flames. We blue flame now. Dude. This is probably so freaking loud. Oh my gosh, I hope these people have hearing protection. This is like rocket loud at being that close. That's awesome. That's so cool. Get some! That's so freaking cool. Yeah! Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't hate that. Yep, I don't hate that. Yeah, nope, that's pretty good. Yep, I don't hate that. Hands up. Link it. Hellfish, link it up, dude. You're the one that showed it. Dude. That's awesome, man. So I think they intentionally turned the mixture to rich to get them to shoot flames like that. When you run fuel rich, it doesn't burn off all the fuel, right? And some of the fuel gets shot out the exhaust, right? Like Falcon 9, for instance, right? Falcon 9's gas generator exhaust is why Falcon 9 gets so sooty when it comes back and lands, right? That's why it gets covered in black friggin' dust all over the place. That's soot from unburnt fuel, from running fuel rich. They run fuel rich to keep the turbine, the turbo pump running cool for the most part. If you run fuel rich, flames come out the exhaust. Yeah, with an internal combustion engine like this. Yeah, flames come out the exhaust. This happens. They probably screwed the mixture to get them to do that on purpose. How many World War II planes are left? There's a lot, D-Man. Yeah, Vin, that's cool. I wonder why 25 wasn't flying. Didn't start. I wonder why they kept 25 off. That's so freaking cool, dude. So these are Avengers. They're TBM Avengers. Avengers are torpedo bombers. They're a torpedo plane that the Navy used. So it's a Navy torpedo bomber. Those things would fly around with the torps, and you go down, right? And it's like the ship is right here. These things would be up at altitude. You go down, right? And then you skirt over the water, right? And you point the plane where you think the ship's going to be. And then when you're going over the water, you drop that thing and the torpedo right into the water and then fly away. And then the torpedo hopefully hits what you want. Yeah, TBMs are crazy. They had a big old radial engine in them because these radial engines are like the kind of engines that you'd see on like a B-17. They're a big bomber engine because you need a lot of torque to pull that big old torpedo around. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it carried 3 people. Yep. It has a tail gunner and a ball turret in the back. These Avengers are big. They're a big plane. Bigger than you think. Like, when we think, single propeller planes, right? You think like something like the P-51. I mean, here, look at this potato picture of one of these things. Look at the guy sitting in the cockpit. This is a big frigging plane. Like, that's as big as like an F-86, which is a lot bigger than you think. It's an R-2600. So, yeah, right, R-2600. I think that's the B-17 engine. Yeah, and then the whole fuselage from like here to here is a torpedo bomb bay. So much so that the frickin' plane, it's basically a flying torpedo. Like, look at the size of the bay. Bomb bay goes all the way to the front because they had to line up the center of mass of the torpedo with the center of mass of the vehicle, right? So, and the torpedo is freaking like 20 feet long, right? So the entire bomb bay, the entire payload bay, and this isn't a good kind of payload bay. The right side of the good payload bays are on the top of the vehicle. Space shuttle, right? It spans the entire vehicle, like it's all built around it. And then there's a single tail gunner. There's a tail gunner that has a ball turret here and then a downward facing turret right there. Yeah, Vanguard, you needed all that torque to move that damn torpedo. The Mark 1 torpedoes were they Mark 10s? I forget. Those torpedoes are heavy, very heavy. Like real heavy. And what I'm looking at here, let me see. Probably Riesling. Oh, that's cool. I like that dish. Let's get ready for GTA though. Bombs. It's a Mark 13. That thing. Oh god, that thing is super freaking heavy. They were also, that's the PT boat torpedo. Jeez. How much does this thing weigh? Mass. 1,000 kilos. Yeah, 2,200 pounds. Yeah, that's a lot of payload, man. That thing is like carrying around like a Mini Cooper. Yeah, it's that heavy. Cool. All right, anyway, let's play some GTA. I hope you enjoyed that. Hellfish, thank you for showing me that. That's really cool. So, we're going to do our racing league tonight. Saturday night GTA racing. I came in third last week. Let's see if I can best third. We're going to